All right, I figured out what I'm going to do here. I figured it out. Everyone else does this on social media. They take their phone and then they go back to replays from NFL games, baseball games, whatever the case may be. They take their phone and they record all the really good plays that a player makes. In this case, this week, Aaron Rodgers, every good play that he made a lot of them in the first half. He made a lot of good throws. But nobody ever goes on. Nobody ever takes videos of the poor plays by their team. But I will take the initiative, and I will go on there and do that just to bring some balance to the Wisconsin sports world. Hi, folks. How you doing? Here we are back at it, the Aaron Michaels Show. If you want to be a part of the program, email aaronmichaelshow@gmail.com, on Twitter as well, @WisconsinAaron. We are not biased. We are not afraid. And we do not talk down to frustrated Wisconsin sports fans. So the Aaron Rodgers discussion has continued into our Tuesday. You hear a bunch of people saying to me and to a lot of Packer fans, and folks, don't feel like you're in such a minority. I know it's tough because Twitter comes after you. The talk show hosts mostly say the same things. The people in the newspapers say the same things. But you're not in a minority. But you hear a lot of people saying to me and to a bunch of Packer fans, well, what's your problem? What's the problem here? The Packers are 2-0. The defense looks great, which they do, by the way. But the defense looks great. The offense just put up a quick 21 points against a good defense. They played two good defenses and won. What's your problem? Why are you criticizing? Why not just enjoy the victory? Why are you picking on Aaron Rodgers? Here is the simple answer. Aaron Rodgers is not being criticized because the offense isn't putting up gaudy numbers. Rodgers is being criticized because people are concerned that he's still doing the same old things. Holding on to the football. Passing on open receivers. For the second half of the game against the Vikings, he was out there doing his own thing. It looked like he did under McCarthy. And the game didn't start out that way. It started out great. Quick passes, Rodgers getting the ball out of his hands quickly and right on target. It was going great. And I even made the comment during the first half of the game. I said, Aaron Rodgers looks like the MVP again. And he did. He played great at the start. But something changed dramatically right after Geronimo Allison fumbled. Rodgers started hanging on to the ball. He started bailing quickly on the pocket. He started to look like he did the past few seasons under McCarthy. And, I think I could pinpoint for you the play that it started. And when I go back, as I said, I will take a video of this play as well for all to see. If you were watching the game with the sound up on Fox, the announcers even commented on it, and this is kind of the play that got it all kicked off. I've been using the Allison fumble as kind of the springboard for when things are changing, kind of the cutoff point. But really, the first noticeable play where Rodgers looked like he has in the past 3-4 seasons, the first play that he did that, even the guys on the Fox broadcast had commented on this. It was a play where Rodgers is back to pass, and a defender was coming on the blitz, and Aaron Jones picked him up. Rodgers assumed that he was not going to pick him up. Rodgers bailed on the pocket, and Jones stuffed the guy. He threw a great block, but Rodgers bailed on the pocket. And it was after that play, especially, that Rodgers started going through the old same old song and dance. What am I mean, people have said, well, what are you so worried about? What am I worried about? Well, I'm slightly worried about the brains of some Packer fans who saw what Rodgers did, who didn't think anything of it, thought that the second half of the game was Rodgers playing at an elite level. I'm concerned about the brain function of someone who looked at that, who watched that game, and didn't think that looked familiar. And then you have the people coming out and saying, well, it's only 2 games and a new offense. How can you criticize them? Folks, it's not 2 games. It's not 2 games if he's been doing this for 3 years. When this first started back in 2015, people were saying, oh, well, don't worry, it's only a game or two. And then we start the next season, and he's still doing it. And people are saying, well, what are you worried about? It's only been a game or two. No, at that point, it had been a season and a game or two. Now we're at 3-4 seasons and 2 games of him doing it. Of doing the exact same thing. Seasons don't happen in a vacuum. Rodgers holding on to the ball and refusing to throw to open receivers over the past few years does not get erased as soon as the season ends. So it all has to be taken into consideration. Big picture, folks. Big picture. And that's what's frustrating. Let's rewind back to last year. One of the big reasons that people were calling for Mike McCarthy to get fired was because it was clear that Rodgers wasn't listening to him. He was doing what he wanted to do, which was passing up on open receivers, trying to find a big play down the field, and there was nothing that McCarthy could do to stop him. And he wouldn't listen. That's why people wanted McCarthy gone and wanted to bring in a coach who Rodgers would listen to. Was that not the big discussion of the offseason? Rodgers has got to start throwing to open receivers. Rodgers got to stop constantly looking for that big play down the field. We need a coach who will come in here, who Rodgers will respect, an offense that he wants to run, and a guy that he'll listen to. Was that not the talk of the offseason? And then once they hired LaFleur, was that not, well, is Rodgers going to listen to him? Does LaFleur have the respect for Rodgers to listen to him? Have they built the chemistry with each other? Do they like each other enough? Will Rodgers listen to him? That was the entire story of the offseason because Rodgers did this stuff last year. And then he does it again in the second half of the game against Minnesota. So how are you not concerned when you see Rodgers do that same thing again this year? Holding on to the ball, passing on open guys short to look for something big down the field. That's been Rodgers' calling card for the past 3+ seasons. So how do you attribute it to him doing it as a result of just being in a new offense? When that's his calling card, you can't say, well, he wasn't quite as good in the second half, but it's only week 2 of the new offense. But it's his calling card. That's what he's been doing. I will tell you this, though. I think that over time this can change with Rodgers, and I really hope it does. Because, folks, well, it is fun to go back and forth on Twitter with some of you. But I don't enjoy having the conversations like this. It's not something that I look forward to. But I think that over time this can change with Rodgers, and I hope it does. You know, Gutekunst and the front office didn't bring in a brand new coach just to have Rodgers do the same old things. One way or the other, I have hopes that this is going to get through to Rodgers. I hear a lot of people nationally, when they're talking about the Packers, when they're talking about the relationship with Rodgers and LaFleur, and I'm going to get to something on that in a minute. I'm not worried at all about their relationship together. But I hear a lot of national pundits say this sort of thing. Well, you know, Rodgers, he's going to run the show in Green Bay. He's the star quarterback making the big money. The Packers are going to side with him over the coach. I disagree with that. First, let me remind you of this. Gutekunst is a man of action. Clinton Dix causes some problems. He's gone. Ty Montgomery disobeyed, brought out a kickoff out of the end zone when he wasn't supposed to. Next day, he's gone. Demarius Randall was a first-round pick who was some trouble. He's gone. That same first-round pick, Randall, was traded for Kaiser, who didn't pan out. He's gone. Mike McCarthy was no longer a viable option. He is gone. And I'm not saying that the Packers are going to trade Aaron Rodgers, but this is what I'm saying. Goody is a man of action. He's going to have that team run the way that he wants it run, and he doesn't sit on his hands when it's not being run correctly. And listen, he did not bring in a new coach, a new offense. He didn't go sign free agents to make the Packer defense a powerhouse just to watch Aaron Rodgers go through the same old song and dance. And I think it'll take some work, but I think that a combination of Goody and LaFleur will be able to get through to Rodgers. Get through to him to knock this crap off. Throw to open receivers. Stay within the offense. Don't go rogue doing your own thing. If And when that happens, we hope when that happens, the Rodgers apologist will say, see, you should have all just relaxed. It just took some time for Rodgers to settle into this new offense. But that won't be what it is, though, ladies and gentlemen. If and when Rodgers stops this foolishness, it will be because LaFleur and Goody figured out a way to get through to the guy. Tell me something, please. What is wrong with Rodgers getting rid of the ball quickly like he did on the Packers' first 3 series of that game? Was that so bad? Why did he have to go back to holding on to the football, and why are you okay with that? Why are you okay overlooking that? Now, the way that the Packers played, I mean, with the kind of results that they had in those first 3 offensive series of the game, that's not something at that pace that's going to be sustained through an entire ball game, certainly not through an entire season. There's going to be ups and downs, but the downs, here's the key, the downs of the offense should not be from Rodgers rehashing all of those same old problems that have been there in the past. Those are what we call avoidable mistakes. I said I was going to get to Rodgers and LaFleur and their relationship. I've had a few conversations with people about LaFleur and Rodgers discussing with each other on the sideline, down towards the end of the first half. That doesn't bother me at all. What happened between those two on the sideline doesn't bother me. I mean, I don't think it's ideal, but I've seen Tom Brady come off the field and him and Josh McDaniels going at it. It happens. It doesn't bother me. What's worse than what we saw Sunday between Rodgers and LaFleur, what's worse is what happened when McCarthy was there. There was a disconnect, and the two of them obviously never hashed it out. And it kept growing and growing and growing. Something would happen. McCarthy has his head stuck in the playbook while Rodgers comes off the field and goes and sits on the bench, and it never gets addressed. Never gets talked about. Look, I'm all for having a quick blow up on the sideline, getting it out of your system, and moving on, which is what happened. But in all honesty, if you watched Rodgers in the first 3 series of the Vikings game, and then the rest of the game, and you didn't see any sort of difference, I fear for your safety, my friend. I'm not sure how you get through a day in the life of a human being on this planet, because it was a night and day difference. Anyways, folks, like I said earlier, don't let people make you think that you are in the minority. I point something like this Rodgers thing out on Twitter, and you have 100+ people that like it, and then you have 5 or 6 people who comment who disagree. But it is a problem, and it can be addressed, and it should be addressed. It should be talked about, and that's what we have been doing. That's what we are doing. And believe me, like I said, I hope that someday we can move past this. But it's going to take somebody getting through to Rodgers for us to get past it. Or he's going to just keep doing what he wants to do. And in that case, that it's not going to spell a good result. It's not going to be a good ending. Now, this entire thing, it doesn't... See, here's where we have to separate something. Everything we talk about with Rodgers, this whole story, it doesn't mean that the Packers are a bad team. And they're not going to be a bad team as long as they have this defense. The concern is that if Rodgers keeps doing what he did, like he has for the past couple of seasons, even with that great defense, they're only going to get so far. It doesn't take away anything from the 2 big wins that the Packers have gotten. They're 2-0 while handing out losses to the other 2 top contending teams in the NFC North. I don't criticize the Packers as a whole. This is solely a criticism of Aaron Rodgers, and that's it. But like I said after the game, you have to be able to look at something and project it into the future. How is it going to impact you when things change? When you get to the playoffs, especially. If it doesn't change, it wouldn't be good. The defense is going to keep you around, but if you're not winning a Super Bowl, if Rodgers continues to go back to how he played last year, or should I say the last couple of seasons. Anyway, we will continue to monitor and watch, and for Rodgers' sake and for the Packers' Super Bowl chances' sake, and because they had built a good defense, I wanted to get turned around. I have nothing against Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's the most likable person in the world. He's never going to be Brett Favre in Green Bay. I know a guy who is a Viking fan who was at the Packer game on Sunday. And he was actually very surprised. He couldn't believe the amount of people that he was around at Lambeau Field just by hearing the comments that were around him. He couldn't believe the amount of people at Lambeau who did not like Aaron Rodgers. He's never going to be the likable guy that Brett Favre was. And for a number of reasons. He doesn't connect to your Wisconsin sports fan. I mean, Aaron Rodgers apologist. Your heads are exploding right now, buddy. Sorry for that. Not really, but you get my drift. But he doesn't have the connection with Wisconsin fans, and they're gonna be faster to criticize him. He doesn't have that connection to them like Brett Favre did. No, we didn't have social media when Brett Favre was around either. But Brett Favre could do the same bad things over and over again. Throw interceptions left and right. Go through a playoff game where he throws 6 interceptions against the Rams, and everyone loves him. But he didn't have the same arrogance about him as Aaron Rodgers does. And if you're a Rodgers apologist, I know you're not gonna think that. You're just gonna think I'm trashing him because you go to bed every night with your Aaron Rodgers PJs on, and you suck your thumb when somebody says a bad word about him. But he doesn't have the connectability like Brett Favre did. And so a lot of fans, but it's not what I'm doing. I'm pointing out legitimate things. And if Brett Favre were still playing today, as much as I love Brett Favre, if he threw 6 interceptions in a playoff game and I had a radio show, I would call him on it. And I would criticize him on it. I just did right now. But a lot of Packer fans have a much shorter leash with Aaron Rodgers because he doesn't connect on that same level that Brett Favre did. He's not Green Bay. I mean, the biggest reason why Packer fans like him is because he had and has had a lot of good years playing for your favorite team. But on a deeper kind of connection level, like Brett Favre had, that's not there with Rodgers. He's going to receive criticism more easily than Brett Favre did. I'm not saying that's why I do it, but I'm just stating a fact for a lot of Packer fans. You identify, if you live in Wisconsin, to the quarterback who goes up to Mosinee, Wisconsin, with Doug Peterson going deer hunting. You connect with the beer-drinking quarterback, not the quarterback who says, well, I'm going to go home and unwind this game with a glass of scotch on the rocks. You're not going to get a connection with Wisconsin people that way, and that's fine. That's not even a criticism of Rodgers. Man, do whatever you want. I just care about how he plays quarterback, and that has not been good enough. This has been the Aaron Michaels Show. Glad you could join us. Fan mail from all the Rodgers fans can be sent to aaronmichaelshow@gmail.com. And if you aren't following along yet on Twitter, it is advisable that you do so at Wisconsin Aaron. We are alternative Wisconsin sports media right here on the Aaron Michaels Show. We are not biased. We are not afraid, but we will be back.